Hey, afternoon, guys. Terrence. Welcome. Here's my take or breakdown from previous games and what the Fever need to do, things they need to do better, and things they don't need to do. Right? Uh, Obviously, first things first would be. I've been said this is if they could get anybody, to um, hold Stephanie White up from ever making it to the post game pressers would be good. I think, for the mental well being of all Beaver fans and or Kevin Clark fans, et cetera, et cetera. Kelsey had a good game last game. Trying to think, our defense, wasn't, as bad as it's been last game. Played a lot more zone, but, they should have been done that for a while now. Well, yeah, like since the second or third game of the season. But anyway, they need to give up on man defense altogether. They suck. They're so bad. It doesn't matter. There's a gazillion variations of any zone. There's just as many variations of man. But it doesn't matter. It appeared 35 games later that whatever variations they tried of man was never going to work. So just quit, right? There, comes a point when, whether you're, trying to feed the big man down low or, play high low and kicking it out and you go 30 games later, but you never made a three or you never made a layup, then you got to give up on the high low. You got to switch the game plan, do something different, right? So first off, I just wanted to address the rumors, fan chats, coaches, WNBA commissioner, right, attempting to diminish the content creators, other social media, etc., etc. Y'all know I'm from the big city, so you might have to pardon the, my city slickers lingo and slang, right? But anyway, so that whole thing is bullshit. And like I say, the rest of the, rumors and things being said and whatever else, just believe what, uh, to be true once it, that particular person or that team comes out and says this is true or this is what we're going to do, or this person's playing or this person's not, you know, or hey, after the season, we're gonna let CC go to New York, or we're gonna let her go to LA, or we're gonna whatever. That's just an example, but um, till they say it, not, you know, people worry. And, and post a lot of videos and things like that, and try to you know do a whole lot of psychological breakdowns of that. Who cares? I'm just saying, if you try to keep up with all of them, you're gonna have your own tough time doing well to hold it together mentally. But dang, I'm trying to think of what I just ate. Can you remember? But anyway, all right. When I said yes, as far as what the commissioner, IndianaFever, Stephanie White, whatever, I'm trying to diminish the other content creators. I've told you, I think they do great work. It doesn't matter if it's KC from behind the line, Chick Stick Sports, Courtside Media, Livewire, the Beach Chef, the Pope, um, JTL. Golly, there's so many. If I leave you out, I'm sorry. But all of them. Seriously, charge the game. They do a wonderful job, reporting. Some of them, keep the vision. There you go. Angry Fan Sports. Follow all those guys. Okay. I know there's not a whole lot of people that watch my videos. I don't have a ton of subscribers. That's fine. That's not, why I make videos. Isn't, for clicks or likes or, uh, what have you. Mine are just for instructional purposes only. For the people that didn't play professional ball, didn't ever coach, say Division I women's basketball, so they can't really give you, uh, an analysis based on that perspective, or even have officiated Division I basketball, any variety, New Orleans. So, you know, uh, you should. I mean, I'm sure that. Well, no, none of them have done those things, so they can't give you the, just say tactical and psychological aspects of coaching and playing in these different games and scenarios and things of that nature. So, Venom, there you go. There's another one. Does a great job on his film breakdowns, awful coaching, even though they're 5, 6, 7 minutes. Um, you can break down any film any which way that you want to, really, uh, based on, what it is exactly that you want to see or what you want to show, right? Um, so, for me, when I'm watching a game or film later, things of that nature. Just for example, when the Fever held the Dream to 9 in the fourth quarter and then 10 in overtime, end up winning the game when they switched to the 2-3 zone. Uh, a lot of people wouldn't have necessarily known. Of course, there was a few times it showed, it was obvious, right? But they would also change the rotations and then change the looks. And you can always do that, whether it's offensively, defensively, and then that's what you're always trying to do, disguise, what it is that you're doing. It's like any other sport, right? Football, you're trying to, disguise defensively. The problem is, defensively in football, you're not going to fool Tom Brady, right? You can hold out for as long as you want to, but inevitably he's seen it all, right? So it's very similar when you have a player, and I'm not going to say like because there's nobody else like Caitlin Clark. So when you have Caitlin Clark right on your team, uh, there's nothing, visually, looks wise in the setup of the other team's defense that she can't, immediately dissect or um, break down. The problem is, it takes a little longer for it to process with other players. Sometimes they don't see it at all, and I get that. That's where I think sometimes that people will, or maybe say that I have CC, going rogue and this and that. No, it's just that the play call maybe that they had for was for X amount of defenses. The particular one, whichever opponent decided to go with, it's not going to work for that. Just like a team is in a zone defense, right? Well, running a man offense, it's not going to work. So, as a coach, and this is just me, right? I used to would, tell my players, if I had 5 timeouts, I'd give them two of my 5 timeouts, and say, look, if there's ever a time whether you bring the ball down the court or going to throw the ball in, um, and you get a look that we haven't gone over before. Uh, Something doesn't feel right, whatever it is, use it. You know, there again, I wasn't the type of coach that needed all the attention or credit for anything that the players may have accomplished. Right? I always would tell them, look, you know, my time as a player had done come and gone a long time ago. Those days are over. This is your time to shine. So, no, I did obviously care, and never coached a losing season in my life. But so I don't know how that happens. I'm sure. If I coached, I don't know. For me, it'd be hard to, I guess, pick one. But if I'd said say a John Wooden, right? Type of 60, 70-year career. No way I probably could do it. Just guessing, that I probably that many years wouldn't be able to go without losing a season or going 500 at least once. But yeah, back to the news, right? And what's fake news and what's false news. Know this, okay? The only fake news and false news and bullshit being addressed and fed to the fans and of the WNBA or of the Indiana Fever or Caitlin Clark fans, etc. Um, he's coming directly from the Indiana Fever, the WNBA commissioner, Fever front office, and the dumb fuckers at ESPN, whether it's McDougal or one of the other fine folks that don't know shit about professional basketball. I don't know what to say. Shanae, I think she played for a few years, so uh, and she's coming around a little bit. And I understand some of the old guard not, necessarily wanting to just, fold, say out of the blue, blah blah. And when I say old guard, what I mean really is, like Shanae, for example, is of course doesn't play anymore, but she did. So although we might say old head, she's not, like a Rebecca Lobo or Nancy Lieberman, who have always been on board, or Candace, well, she is more in line with, say, Candace Parker, because I think she retired even before Candace Parker did. But, Candace never had any issues giving uh, Caitlin her flowers, uh, when it's warranted, or being hard on her when things aren't going as well, right? It's like I say, it's a professional sport, so just like the NBA, NFL, any other, uh, nobody should be above being able to be critiqued, right? So that doesn't mean at halftime let's just degrade and talk about all the shit that one player didn't do right or could have done better or whatever. It's like, shut the fuck up. You don't, who are you? Goddamn nobody. Hey, my name's McDougal. I'm getting my nails done at the, what, fuck God knows where. And I played for the Georgetown Hoyas, and uh, we made the Sweet 16 once in my whole damn 4 years. And for my whole college career, I averaged like 6 damn points, a whopping 2 or 3 rebounds, and 1 assist. That's where my expertise is coming from right there. So my name's Monica McDougal from, I don't know. I don't know. I'm sure that God ESPN doesn't actually pay her money. It seems like she should have to pay them to actually be on TV. But anyway, my coffee. Early afternoon, I still gotta have coffee. Because some of that shit's hard to watch. Like, even when I watch the games, I just watch it muted because I don't need to hear what the damn announcers have to say. I like watching Ryan Ruocco and Rebecca Lobo. All right. So just to give you my thoughts real quick on keys to winning, they're always the same, right? The simple things, of course, they matter. Devil's in the details. Any coach can tell you that, and that's coach, player, because they've been taught these things since, like say, elementary school. But it's hard to win games when you can't keep the other team off of the offensive glass, right? And they get second, third, fourth chance opportunities at the basket. You can't do that. They've got to do better, right? Uh, they've absolutely got to do better stopping ball. Like say, it's regardless of what zone variety defense they choose to use. That's just me saying that. Yes, but I'll just call them stupid. That whole staff, right? Breon January, regardless of what she did, I know what it is. I'm not going over that list because, I already don't like the lady because, she stepped on Cece's ankle and lied about it and won't shut up on the sidelines. You know what I'm saying? That's not what assistant coaches do. Okay. I've done that before also. And I didn't say shit during the game because the head coach, they, the players, they don't need your damn opinion during the game. That's what you got the practice week for. Okay. And that's why a head coach has 15 assistants even in Division I college because they have an assistant for like everything. That's the time to speak up. By the time the game comes around, the game's just for show. In case anybody didn't tell, you professional coaches of the WNBA, right? Is you should have had all that shit worked out before game time. So then the game is just for show. It should be, you already knew what was going to happen because you had it worked out during the week. You work on those things, but you don't. It's the same shit every game. Everybody's watching, and so it's like, the fuck is Aaliyah Boston doing? What is your 6'5" player doing? Whether you trying to make her a stretch four or she's actually the center or God only knows, we can't listen to what the hell you say because you lie. You know, anything the Fever coach says, I just consider a lie because, she never tells the truth. So till she does, and somebody can confirm it's the truth, then I don't believe shit. Uh, and having said that, like say, what the hell is the 6'5" player doing? Okay, now stay with me, right? NBA, WNBA. I get it that people might think, okay, well, in the NBA, you got 6'11" KD. He'll shoot threes and play a little bit of two guard action, three guard, whatever. Okay, well, guess what? Aaliyah Boston's not Kevin fucking Durant. She's not 6'11" either. So, you know, significant difference there. She's not a ball handler. So if you're not setting the screen, all right, I got my chalkboard out here with the, here again, X's, or we'll just say the Liberty and the and the O's are the Fever. But and this is just showing, just say a horns formation, just a dumb example, right? And it's showing my mouse too, so that's cool. But so you got CC here with the ball, right? And I could do that just touching the screen, but move the mouse out of the way. But anyway, uh, sometimes easier just to use the mouse. So we got CC over here with the ball, right? Okay, so whether they're running, offensively running, let's say they're running this, the other team's in man. Okay, we've all seen it, and everything the defense does is dependent on. And Jose Fernandez said it in his post game press conference last time. In case Stephanie White or any dumbass in the Indiana Fever front office thought that maybe Kelsey is on their scouting report. No, she's not. They don't give a damn if Kelsey Mitchell puts up 50. It ain't going to impact the game and how many wins and losses they have. That's just a fact. It is what it is. Okay. Sorry. I like Kelsey Mitchell. I think she's a good ball player. Great ball player. But I mean, when the other team's coach says, he's whether they won or lost, he was, obviously proud of the way his team, and the effort they put in to achieve, their goal, and that was to, you know, get the ball out of Caitlin Clark's hands and let Kelsey dribble around as much as she wanted to and take the shots that she wanted to. Uh, and for them, it worked out. A 10, 12, point, 6.8, whatever it was, uh, win for the Wings. And I said 10, 12, whatever. 14, it was 14 at one point. It might have been more than that. I don't know. But it was just ugly. It was bad. Now, you know, Caitlin, when I say, has to make more, she did have a few open shots that obviously, I thought, she should have made. So I don't think it was, a ridiculous ask. She could have, easily gone seven for 14 instead of 4 for 15. But that was the other day. Every day is a new day. Every game's a new game. You know what I mean? Uh, it's not her first rodeo. She's not shooting 4 for 15 every fucking game. It's not a real thing. Okay, but look. So you got CC going to the right side here, and this is us offensively. I say us, the Fever, offensively at New York tonight, 7 o'clock, right? Okay. So just horns formation, blah blah, whatever. But when I say horns formation, okay. So if she goes right, you lose. This is just say that AB's foot or whatever toes, pinky toes not bothering her. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. If she's not out there trying to be a point guard, 6'5", which is same as a 7-footer in the damn NBA, trying to run points with Steph Curry on your team. That's not a real thing, dude. The tallest player they had was 6'7" when they won the 4 championships, you know, at center. But nonetheless, I guess no sense talking about that, right? So offensively, okay, the key for the Fever, right, is and this is any team, because it's obvious that just like Fernandez said, yes, you want, or the Fever want, pace and space is what they call it. So so spacing along with pace. But when you're not getting those offensive rebounds, or sorry, defensive rebounds, then it's hard to try to wear the other team down. Where Dallas was short some players, we couldn't get out and run. They were getting back and getting their defense set up. So so if that's going to happen, right, and I said, well, I have been saying, right, is that we needed to run more than one action. And all I mean by that, right, is it can be any. action. Okay, so these are just examples, but they don't. The Fever only ever do one action, and the rest is just, like shit. I don't know. I'm not gonna lie to you. You're just looking at the players out there like the hell. Do they not tell them, look, if you're not sure, just kind of stand out behind the 3-point line, so at least you're not in the fucking way. How about that, right? Because most of the time, when the shit hits the fans, if these players will just, okay, so Caitlin's on the right side, just get the fuck out of the way. The play broke down. Okay, so obviously they're not gonna go all the way out, depending on who it is or whatever, because everybody has eyes on Caitlin. But stay the hell out of the way. Leave this open. All right, she don't have no problem taking anybody in the WNBA. I don't give a damn who it is. You can post in the comments whoever you want. I'll take you $10, $5, whatever I got in my wallet. and bet, right? There's no defender in the WNBA that can stop Caitlin Clark from doing whatever she wants to do, whether it's taking the long ball or taking them to the rim. Nothing. All right. So best case, Caitlin beats this defender, right? She's gonna do whatever she's got to do to get her in jail, and then so all the other team can do then is hope on help, right? So whether it's this one, and then just say this one coming in to stunt, or both, but if this one fades too much, then she's obviously going to spray to the corner. That's why obviously the other coaches don't want the ball in Cece's hands, because then they have no idea what's going to happen or what's going on. They just know that she's going to find the open player. That's why, for me, I'm sure any other coach on the planet is thinking, God, how you would love to have had a talent, like I can't even say like Caitlin Clark, because that's just not a real thing. There ain't none. But anyway, okay, so the other team's playing man, right? Here's one of our other, you know, um, sets, and I shouldn't even put it there, right? When Cece's got the ball, Boston is more right in here. Sometimes she'll just come on all the way up here, and that's fine, right? If she's going to do that, and this player comes up, now if this player's sitting back, okay, it's stupid. All right, so you look at broken play. All right, they're in zone. Get the hell out of the way, right? Or at least we'll go this way, around, down, and make a cut. Because Caitlin's defender is gonna get held, but then she'll have an option also if they're cutting, if these two players stay out, for that basket, right? So like I say, if Boston's up here and Boston's defender doesn't follow to the screen, that's really the only time she should be ghosting. Okay. Otherwise, set the fucking screen, set it right, and if you have to, a few steps down and rescreen, right? There's nothing wrong, for love of God, whoever's doing the offense, to have them set some back screens. They'll do pin downs and everything else, but damn it, man, the whole stagnant part of, as far as offense goes, is you can't let the other team keep you know 4 people right here, or something along these lines. There's nowhere to go, just like last game. right? And Baru and all the blocks that she had and what have you. But would Caitlin have continued to take it at her, etc. Okay, well Baru wasn't. Normally the bigs there are in a position to foul. They don't have that kind of length, and of course she's super skinny, so it's easy to tell if she gets body. Even if she does, you know, she's not throwing anybody down. So there's nothing too obvious. Like there's a whole lot going on, but nonetheless, right, is my biggest thing offensively, of course, for the Fever is regardless of what they decide to run, play wise, is the ball movement. That's all of them. Don't the ISO ball thing is a okay. ISO ball thing's fine if it's Caitlin Clark, if it's Kelsey Mitchell, and everybody else go stand in the other fucking corner. Okay, bye. Get out of the way and let them have it. Right, easy enough, and they can school them all day, every day. That would work. That's that. That's seriously an option. I mean, if you're a coach and these you're getting too fancy with the offensive plays and the shit's not working out. Same with the Fever defense, right? Is they get super fancy or trying to with these man defenses and stuff. And 30 games later, the shit ain't worked itself out. Okay, well, it's time to switch, change something. I mean, that's what Einstein's, famous quote, the definition of insanity. Jesus, trying the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. You ain't change the fucking thing. Come on. So, okay, yes, there's a certain amount, of course, that's on the players, and you know, but a huge portion is also on the coaches. When I say a big part on the players, okay, because the biggest portion as far as the coaches goes, should have been. These are all things you should have been working on already. So that, like I say, game time, it's just for show, just for fans to, um, show them what you made of, show them what you did, whatever. Put up 110. Okay, so my whole, that was the thing, offensively. My biggest, of course, pet peeve is our own players, clogging up the freaking paint when when Mitchell or either or Mitchell or Clark are trying to drive the ball or take their player one on one. You got to see that and know when because her and Kelsey Mitchell have both done it more than once in one game. Okay, they're telling everybody, go here, go hang out, everybody, and y'all talk about it, right? While I school this motherfucker. That's what I'm gonna do. At least that's the way it used to work in my day, or that's what it meant. I don't know. Maybe the Gen Z, waving everybody off and out and away and whatever means something different nowadays. But here's the other thing, right? If you know, as far as just say us and fouls go, right? And I say us, damn it, there I go again. The Indiana Fever is there again, different day and time, so probably doesn't apply, I guess, to today's basketball. All right, let's just say now we're gonna switch, okay, the other team, so it would be the Liberty, right? are on offense and we're on defense. So I'm gonna switch it around, right? Since I've got the Fever here as O's. Okay. Now this is just like I said, this is just me personally. I told you I'd give you my takes on, what I thought that the Fever, needed to do to be successful. And it doesn't just apply to tonight's game. This is every game. It's an every game thing, not just a tonight thing. Like I say, the offensive boards, you can't have the other team's guard, when they touch the paint, right? We always talk about that. All right. So then we're collapsing. So then, either the wing shooters or, or this one, ends up wide open, for the spray if they don't take to the rim. So, uh, yeah, if you keep them from getting those paint touches, then okay, there goes. So then there goes that option. So now they can't do that. Now what are they going to do? Well, let them decide for themselves. Okay. Now this is just like I said, me personally, what I would do, right, is like the Fever last game went with, and I'm just going to put players where teams normally, because everybody likes to run these pick and rolls, right? It'd be nice if we'd run a few more pick and rolls than we have been. But anyway, okay, is if the Fever, right? Okay, they got the 2-3 zone, let's just say, right, and then of course whatever side the ball's on, as far as the post player, since they've got the 3 second, lane defensive, uh, is the is going to be on this side. So this player would be, if she goes right, then she's going to be on this side of the paint, right? And they all should be up about the low post block. They shouldn't be back any further than that. Any pass past that point would be an errant pass or steal, for us. Okay, so a lot of times, okay, if we just said, okay, this would be a 2-3 zone, okay, it looks like the middle's open, but really it's not, because you got, let's just say, CC here, and then this one here. So that's not open, but it doesn't matter. My thing is this, they need to, they need to mix it up, right? There's like I say, a ton of variations of any defense, any zones, man, whatever you want, So, but I think they switch it up between 2-3 and 2-1-2. When I say 2-1-2, what I mean is you got too high, too low, right, and you're trapping everywhere. But with the 2-1-2, you can absolutely use this middle player is gonna go around the perimeter, depending on where the ball's at, right, as a backup to, okay, so to help that player then stop this dribble drive penetration that say she was trying to do. And there again, that's just one example and one way to do it. You can leave this player. So the ball goes to the right side and this player goes to the right elbow. She goes to the left side and this player goes to the left elbow. You can do it like that. And then, of course, it would be up to them on whether or not they want to leave the kind of lay back on the 2-3 zone, or if they want it to be a pressure 2-3 zone, then that's okay too. Now you're, kind of in this area, and at times it won't actually look like a zone, but when they run these zones, whether it's 2-3 or 2-1-2, hell, they could run a 4 out. Uh, who is it? Baylor, I think, for the men's. They got a hell of a 4 out defense. So if you want to watch any, I'm sure you can YouTube, their 4 out defense, right, is killer. Uh, works great for being an undersized team, playing teams with size, and being able to get stops and keeping them off the glass. Ultimately, that's what we want to do. Look, we've got 1, 2, 3. Okay, so any shot here should, we should be fine. Okay, now defensively, when people talk about guarding, playing defense on, I don't give a shit who it is. Okay, you never. I don't give a shit. I don't give. Okay, so pay attention. Make sure I got your focus right. I don't. Never. I don't give a damn if you're on the balls of your feet or what you're doing or how you look. You're never squared up with the player that has the ball, with the offensive player. You're playing defense. Okay, that's not how you play lockdown defense ever. Okay, so here, right here, we got the IndianaFever defender. Okay, now what you'll see me do a lot is I move them because there's a goddamn reason for that. Okay, if they're right-handed, I'm gonna go right here. Okay, that's how you play defense. So it'd be if they're right in front of me and they're right hand, they're predominantly right-handed. I want the right side, all right, my right shoulder to be about in line with the middle of their body. Okay, and then I want to be angled just a little bit to push them the way that I want them to go. All right, so even if they're a right hand ball handler, which might mean I have to give them a little more space, but I still want to force them to the right, then I got to be here. Okay, so they can't go left, but now you don't want to give too much, right? Because you go too obviously they're just gonna just go right past you. But you see what I mean? You go halfway as far as the body goes, right? You got the full player in front of you, and they're right-handed, so you're halfway. So then you've got either one, so in that case you got your left foot up, right, and you would be at, um, it's a right hand ball handler, so typically you would be here, and you damn sure will not be square, okay. And let me hit clear here on there. Okay, so you're going to be, whoops, I accidentally grabbed the ball. I was trying to draw a line. It's going to be a little bit of an angle, okay, like that. Not square, not straight, like that. No, you want it more like that. Because I don't give a damn if you're forcing them to the right or to the left. You got to force them some direction. If you stand in front of them, you can't let them dictate which way they want to go. That's all you're doing right there. I'm gonna cook your ass. I don't give a damn who you are. If you want to stand in front of me like that all day, you're done. You're done. I'm gonna put you in jail real fast. And I'm just a big old white boy. And I'm slow, but I'll still do it because that's an advantage and a disadvantage. The advantage to it is that you think you're faster. That's gonna make it easier for you to, I don't know, maybe steal the ball. So I know that means, okay, you're going to get up on me. So the more you get up on me and all up in my grill, the easier it is for me to just, you know, I, for all intents and purposes, I would say spin around, right? Dribble, spin around until I get you where I want you. And then now I can just slowly move forward. But there ain't shit you can do about it. Once you get to once you get to the professional level. Now, when we're talking YMCA or the local community center or I don't know, rec ball, uh, but this is professional basketball we're talking about. So they should be doing um, things the way that professionals, at least that's what, like say, you'd think. That's what I expect when I watch the games, and I would think that everybody else would. You know, it's easy for, I don't say commentators, but let's just say halftime shows, stuff like that, to state the obvious. The rebounds, defensive or offensive, or who has X points. That they're getting easy, buckets. Not having much resistance getting to the rim. The paint touches, yada yada. Those things, they're obvious, okay. But nobody wants a problem without a fucking solution. So that's all I'm doing is trying to, throw a few options and things out there that, uh, in case, because it doesn't look like those coaches do know. I'm not gonna lie to you, and I'm not saying all of them either. They may be, uh, it may be, I don't know, it may be 60-40 or something, or 50-50. There may be two good coaches in the whole damn league. I don't know. There's obviously a reason why we never heard of none of them until we started watching Caleb Clark and IndianaFever. Uh, because now, like I say, for everybody that wants to, okay, how much money does this team have left? Yada yada, and the new CBA and the salary, cap, yada yada. Okay, what a what a coach gets paid has no effect on their salary cap. Okay, just so you guys know, So if they wanted to pay, just a great example of a great coach. Nobody's gonna argue he wasn't a great coach. Uh, Mike Krzyzewski, right from Duke. I'll just name him. I'm a U of L fan, so Rick Pitino, Calipari coached at Kentucky. Well, Patino did too, but nonetheless, they were all good coaches, won championships. Uh, but nobody's going to argue that you're going to find a better damn coach in the WNBA. But there's a reason those guys don't have no interest whatsoever. Uh, it's like people have said, a lot of people, um, that the league doesn't have any interest in actually playing basketball and being viewed as a professional women's sport because like say at least as far as the NFL go, I just can't understand the lack of adjustments, in-game adjustments. Uh, you can't always wait till halftime. You can't always wait till the end of a quarter. You kind of sometimes have to do things on a whim. Okay, and even as players, right? Is you can have two game plans, four or five, whatever, and none of them end up being what you expected, right? At the end of any day, it's still basketball. So I would never put it simply and say, uh, it's just basketball because, there's obviously so much more to basketball than just basketball. There's also outside of that, i.e., social media and everything else I talk about, right? There's so much more to life than just basketball. So, those players uh, do obviously need a break and a chance to give their bodies time to heal, things like that. 44, 50 game season, something like that. Rather than say the men's um, number of games in a season. There is a physical difference. Obviously size we've seen. Uh, the pace, the speed of the players. You know what I mean? And sometimes what you see on TV doesn't do just say for the guys, doesn't do them justice, or the women, on just how fast the move they made was, or just how fast they got to the rim, or the team got into a play, this and that, right? Um, like I say, because at the professional level, they're all pretty damn good. Should be. I say that and I sit there and it just makes you sick thinking, okay, granted, it was 40 years ago, right? Last 30, I guess. Well, and then too terribly long since I touched the ball, but since having coached, I appreciate it and everything else. But you know, competitively, yeah, I haven't touched the ball in 40 years. But it's not the point. Fundamentals are the fundamentals. Larry Bird had, his quote, he said it best is, you spend your entire career, your entire life playing a game that you love, and what they should be focused on and focusing on is mastering the fundamentals. Okay, the fundamentals of blocking out, of, okay, nobody is going to be able to, Bob Knight, that was one of his quotes, said, um, that no defender, no matter how good they are, is going to be able to hold a great ball handler for more than two or three dribbles, for if they gave him a little bit more room. That's all I can do. He said, so, that's where obviously your help and recover comes in, right? Help, then help the helper. Okay, still got to recover. Um, you know what I mean? It's like, don't forget. Why are you seeing these things in professional games? I have no idea. Okay, but this is women's basketball for you, and I'll just say, uh, well, it doesn't matter any level. Okay, where if you just take the right here, right, the restricted area, right? Okay, that's not blocking out. If you're okay, Indiana, so you're the orange team, okay, and you're okay somewhere near like this, right? Okay, the rim is here. Well, it shows it over here, but anyway, we're trying to pretend, right? Okay, this is a jump ball. That's all that is, a jump ball. They don't have to go over your back. The ball bounces off the rim, and instead of just rolling off the rim, it's not a block out. You didn't do shit. Okay, you gotta. Okay, and it's just what I used to tell my players. But the low post blocks, and then wait till the ball gets down to where you can reach it without any problems and mishandling it and all that bullshit, and then go get it. As long as you got them blocked out, and everybody else is doing what they're supposed to be doing. So as soon as the shot goes up, everybody should be turning around, putting their ass on a body, right? And then, okay, so now the shooter can't come in and lay it back in because you got them. You're on them. You're blocking them out. They can't run in. So now your two players are the only ones, this one and this one. As long as they block out, like say, to at least the low post blocks, the big low post blocks. Okay, for people don't know what the low post blocks are. We're not going to the one below that. That's not, no, it's too close to the goal. Okay, you got to back them up some more. In the NBA, players are so naturally gifted and talented. At times, they can get away with, because they can jump out of the gym, with not blocking out and still get the rebound. Right? That's totally different. So I don't really like to compare, one to the other. as far as the NBA and the WNBA goes. Their skill sets are entirely different. Like I say, except for the fact that and the reason that everybody loves watching CC, right? And is her ability to knock down those deep threes. Now she's added so much more to her game. We just got to IndianaFever have to do better as a team. The coaching staff's got to do better as far as coaching goes. This is all no matter if it's pregame. All right, it's 2 o'clock now. They're shooting between now and 3 o'clock. They're on the floor. They should have obviously already gone over game footage, things like that of film study. They played the Liberty before already. Okay, you can't expect the team to do the same damn thing every time. So and you can't do the same thing every time either and expect it to work because it's not gonna happen. You got to be able to mix it up and then come toward the end of the season. Hopefully, there were a few things you threw in there throughout the season, or at least that you've been working on hard in practices, especially now that the Fever know they clinched the playoff berth, that you're kind of holding in your bag, that you're going to open up that can of whoop ass on them when the playoffs come, defensively and offensively, that you haven't shown before. So they don't have film, they don't have tape on it. Those are things coaching wise that you have to do. Okay, you got to feel the momentum shift. You got to, know, when are the right times and the wrong times to take players out. Um, you don't tell a shooter to stop shooting. You tell them to keep shooting. They're not going to keep missing. The only thing you're going to do is lose. But if you tell them to stop damn shooting, especially with the Fever, because Kelsey Mitchell and Caitlin Clark, they account for in the season more than half their points every game. So yes, they absolutely need Kelsey, but they also need Caitlin Clark to run the damn offense. Stephanie White needs to, she's going to get tunnel vision. Don't look at Cece or even Kelsey Mitchell for that matter. Look at the defense. All right, see what the other team's offense is doing. Call the timeouts when you need to. Make adjustments to the defense. Or call a timeout, waste a whole fucking minute or 2 minutes reiterating how important it is for them to block out. By block out, I don't mean block out where the rim is right above you, because that's a jump ball. And if you're shorter or your timing is off, then you didn't get it. It's a jump ball. They don't have to go over your back. Okay? You're not a dude. Can't jump out of the gym. If you could, you'd be dunking, and you're not. So it just is what it is, right? So like I say, I just think defensively, um, they should the Fever should try. I think different, obviously variations of the 2-3. They've already done. They can do more. They can do what they did. Um, you know, I mean, they said it perfectly against the Wings. The commentator said, Indiana came out in the 2-3 zone. Whoops, that threw Dallas off. They weren't expecting that. And then they got out of it. Well, what the hell would you get out of it for? That we stopped, the Fever stopped ball, and we got the rebound. And then you get a Caitlin Clark assist to Timpson for the first 2 points of the game. So, seriously, I'm dumb there sometimes. Because I don't know what they're, it's like, God, if I try to put myself in, let's just say, their shoes, no matter if it was the player or the coaches, they're thinking, what would I be thinking there to allow that to happen or to keep happening. You know what I'm saying? So whether Boston plays today or not, like, there again, that's just me. I don't give a shit. She's okay. I don't think she's anything special. I don't know about worth 6 point something, $3 million. Uh, you know, uh, I don't know. This whole hub offense bullshit or whatever that's just, I mean, that's exactly what it is. It's like running a boxing one or some junk defense. Okay, it's a junk offense. That's all it is. It's I'm dumber. I'm not explaining that mess. But anyway, so let me look and make sure on my notes to see if there's anything else, like I said, that I wanted to. That I wanted to kind of go over. I said a whole lot more than I wanted to. Damn video is an hour. It shouldn't have been. Shouldn't have been. I always aim to make them like 10, 15 minutes, and I end up going on a rant. It's like, oh, shit, I should have just gone live and let other people jump up here with me and stuff. But yeah, whatever. I'll do that too. Yeah, that's all I got for today, guys. Hopefully, people get it in time, and they're able to see. When I say get it in time, are able to watch the video. Right? Is okay. Look, if we play our man D, all right, back on my whiteboard. Okay, we play our man D. Every team, runs some variety of this same offense that we do, formation, whatever. Doesn't matter. Zoom action, horn, split, you name it. Okay, it's like I say, there's no, as far as the scheme goes, there's for the last 100 years, okay, to date, there's no coach can do shit tomorrow that they haven't done already at some point in the last 100 years of basketball. So, uh, you know what I mean? It's like making a mistake of any variety, right? It's like, okay, they're gonna happen. We're all human. It's just like, but you can't keep letting the same mistakes happen, or in this case, same mistakes beat you over and over and over again. It's like, you go back and you look at every game we've lost. It's like, of course, I don't have to ask why. The coaching staff don't have to ask why. Anybody else that knows what they're watching doesn't have to ask why. It's because you're stupid. It's because the coaching staff, the assistants, unless they're told to specifically by the head coach at that moment to open their damn mouth, need to shut the fuck up, sit on the bench, and take the average, a little above min wage salary that they get. I don't know. Nothing wrong with min wage. Not what I'm saying. Except you should get paid more. You know what I'm saying? So that's just telling you, how good they don't think you are. So stop acting like you're fucking somebody and going out on the court or saying shit to Caitlin Clark in the middle of the fucking ball game. Wait until practice or some other time. Because everybody's got a camera nowadays. They're gonna catch it on film. Your ass is gonna be on the news somewhere. But all right, so look, the other team's on offense. Okay, so we're playing man. Okay, so let's just say their player is setting the screen for, okay. So then our player that's guarding this player, right? You can't run into the screen. This is where they talk about communication or whatever. You know what I mean? She starts coming up. You're going screen right, screen right. Come on. Like I say, I feel dumber that I even just said that. I felt like I needed to. But every game we run into, and then we get stuck. It's like stuck on stupid. Because then this defender, instead of staying back, gets right up here, and now we just, blow by everybody. It's like, oh my God, you idiot. Worst case, because of worst case, this player is going to go up here and show. They're going to show. You come up high and you're going to show. Force them back. Force them back this way. All right, if you're not going to do that otherwise, and you're a player that can defend against whomever this guard is, then just slide over and switch, and they'll pick this player up. No big deal. Nothing hurt. All right. Some of those mistakes you can overcome, in the midst of a game. What you can't overcome is the lack of communication or knowing what you're going to do. Like say you don't even have to communicate if you, I say if you don't want to, but that somebody set the screen, you want your own player to get leveled, so you let them run into it. Okay, at least then, like I said, just do your damn job. Show, show, not let them split or go between. You're showing right here. Okay, you're not following up to half court. You're staying here and or sliding back. Okay, giving this player a chance to either recover since you helped, or this player will stay with the player that came around. You grab this one. So what we can't do is anytime that this happens, we're done. This far out from the goal, it's over. It's over. This player is getting cooked because typically that player is not a guard or forward, and they're blowing past for an easy paint touch. So then we got help. Then we got a pass. And what we really got is a fucking mess, which is like most of the time. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. Sorry it took so damn long. Hopefully next time will be shorter.